What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us and welcome to Elite Fantasy Nation podcast. I'm your host, Matt Dennis. You can follow me at Fantasy Matt EFN. Joined together with two of my boys. You got Pat Wendelken. You can follow him at City Stars 136, and James Dunoyer. Man, welcome back. So third time on the show. So his sleeper handle is Jiggity Gemez. So you've probably seen him before in a couple of leagues. I'm in 2 leagues with him. So welcome back, James. Man.
Thanks for having me, dude. I'm psyched.
So it's always a question, did I get it right that time? I black out sometimes at the very beginning.
You nailed it. That was the best you've ever pronounced it. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you for giving me the proper enunciation or how to pronounce it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the phonetic way of pronouncing it. So appreciate that. So how you been, man? It's been about 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe?
Yeah, it feels like 2 years with all the free agency transactions.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the pod that we dropped Wednesday, I think. Yeah, Wednesday. Talking about all the free agent pickups, the signings, the trades, the craziness, man. And we actually have a couple more that popped off in the past 2 days. So it's been a wild football season, off season, I guess you could say. But to even kick off before the draft, which is going to even probably crazier, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's been nuts.
Yeah. What's been your favorite one so far? Your favorite trade that you're just like, that's going to have one of the biggest impacts in fantasy?
I think I like the swing ones where we don't know which direction it's going to go. So the
example
Titans are very interesting to me. So Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard sharing a backfield that could go either way because it's not clear to me who's going to take over a bigger role because they both do similar things.
Yes, correct. What about what's the worst one that you think that's like hurt the worst value? That's like just like literally the one that you had like maybe a lot of stock in and either sign or trade and you're just like, oh, that just killed the value of this guy for me.
I mean, Kenny Pickett's now a backup and
dude, yes. That literally just happened today and it's just like I have him in one of my MFL leagues, and I was a little disappointed when I saw that.
Yeah, if you were banking on him having another year of buffer, that's about it. So that's too bad.
I mean, honestly, with Wilson going there, it probably wasn't going to be that much anyways. He probably was going to be the backup, but he would have at least had an opportunity to try for the starting job. That's now out the window. Russell Wilson will be the starter for sure for this next year, at least in Pittsburgh. So, that was a big bummer. Russell Wilson going there was like step one, and then they obviously traded him today, step two. So definitely Kenny Pickett's gone. You've got Sam Howell out of Washington to Seattle. That recently happened too. So I don't want to steal all of Pat's thunder. So I'm going to hand it over to Pat now. Why don't you tell us what's happened the past 2 days?
All right, bro. We have a lot of. It's a nice big trade show we have for everybody today. Matt and I have been working steadily on it. Matt more than me, but he's the man. He's the brains. But let's do the quick news, and then we can add a little comments we want. One trade that I saw started out that we in touch was with the Falcons and the Cardinals, Rondale Moore, and they traded Desmond Ridder. So that's the exchange.
Yeah, they swapped.
A little swap action. Falcons get another wide receiver to add to the money bag over there. Your favorite. See how he does another little extra wide receiver action. I don't think there's really any weight into that trade that we really need to go into.
No, but it's just I think it's interesting though because it's like you get all these like what were rookies, second year quarterbacks that are now being just like basically bounced back and forth, like they're just changed. Yeah. It's kind of interesting, and we talked about obviously a couple as well. So Kenny Pickett was one of them. So
next, not too crazy or anything. Sam Howell got traded to the Seahawks along with a 24-102. And the 24-179, Commanders received the 24-78 and the 24-152. Nothing crazy, but like you said, another quarterback on the carousel, moving on, just as a part of the puzzle. I got a little more detail for you guys now. Mixon was in the full agreement, 3 years, $27 million. So we'll see how that pans out down there with a nice little setup. Josh Allen has his second wide receiver now. Commanders send over Curtis Samuel, 3 years, $30 million, dude. Big.
Well, I think that's they didn't send him over. He's a free agent. He's signed, so it's a free agent.
Yeah.
So he wasn't.
At least
traded.
he got his second one though. That's a big deal though, because they've been, who knows what Diggs and everything else. So this might open up a little differently, I guess you can say, right? What do you think, James?
Yeah, I mean I like Curtis Samuel as a player, and I think it's interesting that he's back with Joe Brady now when he had his best season with Joe Brady in
Yep.
Carolina. So it's
Yeah,
promising.
I actually forgot about that, to be honest with you. I forgot I forgot the connection there, but I do remember Joe Brady in Carolina, but I forgot that he was in up in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I know, Matt. Matt. I'm going to touch on it since it's in my order. The big one. We'll go back on and touch it. Keenan Allen on his way
Last night.
to the
Yes,
Bears.
to the Bears.
Fourth round pick going to the LA Chargers. I know we're pumped on that. We'll touch on it. I'm just going through my list. Don't get mad at me. We'll come back.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes gets his wide receiver. It looks pretty decent. They're signing Mr. Hollywood Brown, bro. Big, nice little speedster. They've been missing this. I think this is going to just add more fuel to the fire, bro.
It'll be interesting to see how he jumps up in redrafts. Like Hollywood. It'll be interesting to see like what round he goes in now.
Yeah, he's gonna. Well, Hollywood last year, I was gonna say, was in like that fourth, fifth range, give or take. Could be deeper depending on certain leagues and how it's set up, but I could see him in like the third, touching the third at least now. Because I mean, Mahomes automatically, you slap Mahomes' name on anything, it's like,
oh, of course,
buy now, you're gonna get it. Nothing crazy in this one, but it's a trade. The Vikings get a nice pick now. They have the 23rd overall, and they have the 232. They received that from the Texans. And the Texans also now get the 42nd and the 188 and the 24. They got a second round pick in 25, so it's just a pick swap.
Well, that's it's actually big because that's the Vikings moving up. So they moved up from the second, I think, to the first round again. So now they've got two first round picks.
Yeah, 42nd to now the 23rd now in that. Yes, correct.
Yes, that's huge. So they're making a play. They've cleaned house. We've talked about this last time. So you have, obviously they're looking for quarterbacks. So it's like, are they going to go up and try to draft one of the rookies? Are they going to use these two first round picks to maybe leverage up from the highest pick in the first round? So it'll be interesting to see. There's going to be a lot of movement in this draft. I got a feeling. It's like all the movements we've already had. I don't think it's going to end for the draft day.
Yeah, and the last but not least, like you said, the trade carousel moves again in the QB's range. So Kenny Pickett traded to the Eagles, like you said, not sexy, but it's there. But go ahead, Matt. Keenan Allen, your boy. Welcome home. Did you open up the doors? Orange carpet. What'd you do, bro?
I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about it before we jumped on. I mean, it's like obviously as a Bears fan, I'm stoked. Kind of bittersweet because it looks like they're building this. I mean, you think about it. So this is what the Bears currently have now. So they've got DJ Moore, they've got Keenan Allen, they have DeAndre Swift, they've got Roshan Johnson plus Khalil Herbert, they've got Gerald Everett, and then Cole Kmet. So that offense now looks kind of like dangerous, if I must say. But there's so many mouths to feed. Where the question is, from a fantasy standpoint, we were kind of having a little bit of discussion about this earlier. Is like, is this going to hurt DJ Moore's stock? Is it going to hurt Keenan Allen's stock? Cole Kmet, is that going to hurt him as well? Now that you've got another offensive weapon, you basically have two number ones in that offense. So either there's talks. I was listening to a podcast earlier today. There's talks even in Chicago about this might be signs that they're trading the number one pick, and they're just kind of have been playing a smoke screen with everybody, and they're just like basically going to build up because they've only got 4 draft picks left, so they've traded 2 away to get an offensive lineman, and then to get Keenan Allen was a 4th round draft pick. So they only have 4 left in the whole entire draft, which is not a lot, So there's conversations either the 1 or the 9 will probably be traded at some point, and what that looks like. So yeah, it'll be interesting. They just got to pass more. Hopefully this is a sign that this offense is going to be more of a passing offense and not a run. They're obviously going to be run first in general, but hopefully they're going to have more passing yards than they did last year, which was I think 3,000. It was under 4,000. We were talking before we jumped on. So that's my perspective. I mean, I'm excited as a Bears fan because they're going to be offense. It's going to be potent, and you're not going to know how to stop them. If you want to stop DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen. You stop DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, then you've got Cole Kmet up the middle. Then you've got Roshan Johnson or DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. So it's like there's so many different ways that they can beat you now. It's going to be pretty dynamic. But what do you think, James? I'll throw it to you, kind of throwing your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this offense is starting to look like it can be pretty scary. And I think that if it is pretty scary, then that could be a pretty big piece of pie for these receivers to eat from. Like we see this all the time with strong offenses. Usually they support 2 fantasy viable wide receivers.
Cincinnati. right
Cincinnati.
behind our boy.
Yeah, man.
Hey, there we go. So, yeah, I guess we're going to have to wait and see how the offense looks because we don't even know who their quarterback is yet.
Yeah. I mean, that's like
a
the
huge
whole
piece.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts. As I mentioned last time, I'm currently transitioning to a new job, so I've got a lot of time to kill. So I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. A lot of it is either Chicago-based or fantasy-based, obviously. And there's like a lot of talk. Like some people are, this definitely shows they're going to trade the number one pick. Some people are like, oh, this definitely shows they're going for Caleb, and they want to make sure they've got all the weapons intact for him, and make sure that they don't screw him up like they did, Justin Fields. So it's all over the place, man. It's kind of bonkers. But yeah, offseason, man, the NFL's that's what they've been building this up for years, and they're getting it, man. They've got it. Roger Goodell's just got to be sitting up there counting the money, like, oh yeah, we're still getting airtime, we're still getting all this stuff, all these news feeds and hits and everything. So they're loving life, man.
Oh, it's so good. It's straight in the veins. This free agency season, I've been loving it.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. So unless you guys got anything else, man, as Pat alluded to, I forgot to talk about it during the intro. Just was rambling, I guess. So today's trade day. So we're going to talk Dynasty Trades, man. So we got a total of, I think, 13 we counted before we jumped on. So we're going to kick it off, man. And what I'll do is I'll kind of set the stage. I'll talk about, the actual trade. I'll talk about what league it's in. And then we'll kind of go from there as I've tried to find my show notes. So first league is going to be 50 Degenerates and Debauchery League. So it's a 12-team PPR Superflex. It is set your lineup, and it start 12, like I said earlier. So first trade that you see is T-Savage82 is trading with Sheriff Shane, which I got to ask him if he's actually Sheriff. It's just his funny handle that he uses. But so you got Gus Edwards and 25 fourth. Being received and sent away was DeAndre Swift. So, and you can see by the signs, it was after he was in Chicago because it already says, RB Chicago. So I'm pretty sure it was after he had already signed. So thoughts on that? I'll give it to the guest. James, you go first, man.
Cool, man. So yeah, normally I like taking two players in the same tier, positional tier, and leveraging them in a trade with a pick, right? So I wouldn't mind it normally, but Gus and Swift are just in two different tiers for me. I think
I agree.
Yeah. And now, but this is a decent bet, right? I could be wrong. I think right now the Swift needle, it could be pointing down. Despite all his natural athletic talent, he definitely has some technical issues to his game when it comes to, reading blocks and leverages and just hitting a hole when it's there and open, running into the back of his own lineman, trouble finishing his runs there. There's some problems. And I think that it's pretty clear with the usage that Philly gave to him second half of the year that they could have been tired of the continued disappointment that they saw in his ability as well. So it's possible. Also, I am a Khalil Herbert fan, and I wouldn't be too surprised if the timeshare begins to skew more on the side of Khalil Herbert. And by the same token, Gus Edwards, his needle could be pointed up. All signs in LA kind of show that they want to run the ball more with Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they don't have any wide receivers left. They don't have any wide receivers, man.
They traded, Keenan Allen, cut Mike Williams. If we could be looking at it as, week 8 comes around and DeAndre Swift and Gus Edwards are in the same boat and you just notched yourself a free fourth, which is pretty inconsequential. That's why I made that face. It's not enough leverage to warrant the move for me. So I would take the Swift side.
Pat, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for sure right now, especially like you said, it's crazy how these trades and, new face, new place, a lot of question marks, I guess you can say, because you really we don't know. And we still don't even know what the roster team will look like. They got a long way to go. But as of right now, I definitely would side with the Swift for sure. Plus, I have stock in him also, so I'm super happy with that. So, yeah, biased a little bit.
Yeah, and it's also Edwards. I go to Gus. He's been injured a lot of the past couple of seasons. So, like, and you can say the same thing for Swift. We've talked about that in the past, too. Like, Swift is not somebody who's, the model of healthy. He definitely, when he was in Detroit specifically, was injured quite a bit. And then he had a really good breakout year last year in Philadelphia. But yeah, you never know. I would definitely take the gamble on the Swift side. And I think for the fourth, especially in 2025, it's like you got to wait a year to even cash it in. I would stick with DeAndre Swift. So yeah,
they're kind of opposites in a way if you think about it, right? DeAndre Swift is flashy and athletic, and Gus is just kind of a grinder. But coaches
big bowling ball.
Love Gus Edwards, and coaches just seem to dislike
DeAndre. Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. So it'll see. But yeah, for now, DeAndre Swift side definitely. I'm with you on that. All right, so same league. So we've got the 50 Degenerates and Degenerates and Debauchery, 12-team PPR, super flex. It is set your lineup and start 12. So here, T Savage again, 82. Same two players that are, or managers, I should say, that are trading. So you've got I should have pulled up the actual numbers. I apologize for that, but you got a second and a fourth basically been traded for Terry McLaurin. So T Savage trades away Terry McLaurin and wanted to get some extra draft capital and got a second and a fourth for him. So I'll start with you, Pat, since we started with James first. What do you think, man?
I don't mind the picks in this at all. I think there's a lot of juice in this draft, like we've talked about many times already before. So yeah, and Washington's in a complete rebuild. No idea what the quarterback's going to look like. I mean, Terry's cool, but who is he this year? What is he? I mean, we don't know anything. That's a complete rebuild in Washington. So I'm on the picks, man. You can maybe snag some gold in this for sure.
All right. So you got one picks. What do you got, James? You got a smile on your face, man. You're grinning.
I love it.
You're grinning.
I love disagreeing with Pat. It's just awesome.
That's why we got you on, man. That's why we got you on. If everybody agreed, this wouldn't be entertaining. Like, are you not entertained? Come on, man. Let's go.
Yeah, give me Terry all day. He's a true alpha receiver who's able to line up anywhere on the field, create separation at all three levels, across the middle or on the boundary. He's just that dude. The only real knock on him is his age and lack of production. But since he's been in the league, he's played with Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, Alex Smith, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz, and Sam Howell.
Yeah, that's nuts, dude. That's
nuts. 7 different quarterbacks in 5 years. And none of those guys are anyone who you would consider particularly good.
But good. You know what he's going to have, though?
Even with all those terrible situations, he was still someone who you could start in your lineup. I'm not saying he was elite, but he was someone you could put in your lineup.
Yep. Wide receiver too.
And if the situation happens to improve, it's more than possible that he could give you a top 12 wide receiver production. And even if it remains what it has been, I would still prefer that over a second round pick that is unlikely to reach that same level of production that Terry is already going to give you. That's my take.
I'm with you. I don't think Terry's reached his full maximum potential. So I side with James. So that's 2 for Terry. And the reason being is because
with it. Hey, listen, I could be on the island alone, dude. I'm cool.
Oh, you're by yourself, man. There's not even animals on the island with you, man. It's just you. It's just you.
Listen, you put him on a different team in a different scenario. Yes, dude. I can't. DC in Washington, Maryland, wherever the fuck they play now, because I've been there. Horrible stadium. Everything's horrible, bro. Till things have changed, bro.
But think who the quarterback's going to be. Think of who the quarterback's going to be, man. He's going to be. They've got the number 2 overall picks. It's either going to be Drake May, or whoever. Like maybe it's even Caleb. If they trade up and get Caleb, they could have Caleb Williams throw them the ball. So it could be a huge difference. And I think for a second and a fourth, the fourth is a throwaway. We've talked about that many times. I mean, It's a gamble. 3rd and 4th round picks are gambles, regardless of how good the draft class is, anyways, because that's 36 picks in, if not longer, right? So I'll take a gamble on Terry McLaurin for a second. Yeah, so it's worth it. That's the way I look at it, man.
Nothing wrong with it.
Well, that's why you have trades like this, is because there's 2 different sides to look at, 2 different ways of looking at it. So we're just saying you're wrong.
Listen, I like T Savage. Me and him are vibing right now. You guys are on this old sheriff wagon over here, and that's cool too, man.
All right. So we got our last trade within that league. So 50 Degenerates and Debauchery, 12-team PPR, Superflex, set your lineup, and it is start 12. So you'll see my trade here, which we were chatting about last night. So Dynasty MD, that's me, 6129. And I traded with CDEC 23. So I traded away Trey McBride, and in return got a 2026 first round pick. I was on the fence. I'll be honest. Before I let you guys kind of speak, and I'll let you guys kind of do all the talking. But I was on the fence on this because it is 2026, and it's a far way out. I'm currently at the 104 pick, so my team is not that good. And I've got a lot of draft capital this year, so I was on the fence if I wanted to wait that long to cash it in. But I'll go James first, since you're the one who kind of first responded when I sent the text yesterday. I'll let you start now. So what do you think, man? Kick it off.
So also, it's worth noting it's not tight end premium, correct?
It is not tight end premium. Thank you for asking and clarifying. It is not.
So yeah, on a rebuild, I'll take the random 26 first because there's a chance that it becomes an early first. Mm-hmm. And if it does, there's a good probability that that becomes a first round startup value. And when I'm rebuilding, I don't mind waiting. I don't mind looking at a pick and saying this is a couple years out, because I actually kind of prefer that, because it means fewer points will be on my roster and it'll make the value of my own draft picks appreciate. So I don't mind the first here if you're rebuilding at all. Now, if you're contending, of course, give me the McBride side all day.
Definitely. Yeah.
The dude is a stud. So I think it's a classic example where both teams kind of get what they're looking for.
Yep. Pat, what do you got to add?
Yeah, I co-signed last night. You already saw my thing. I was with you.
I know, man. You just got
that. We're letting the people know. No, yeah, take the first, man. Future assets. You're loaded. I know people can't see your team, but you have a lot of draft capital.
I got
heavy.
Three first round picks this year, 2 first round picks 25, and 2 first round picks now in 26. So I've got
worked
quite a
out
bit.
Perfect, dude. So you know where that is, bro.
Yeah. All right. So and I'll just say CDEC does have the 102 this year, so he's actually slightly behind me. But I don't know. I didn't look at his team or kind of analyze it. I'm not sure if he had a lot of injuries or what had happened. But yeah, it's 2026 first. You guys talked me into it, man. Sold. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So now we got a different league. We're going to go into 2022 Degenerate Dynasty League. So it's a 12-team PPR Superflex. This is an IDP league, which will not. I don't think it comes into effect in any of the trades that we're looking at. There'll be 2 trades here. Start 12, and it is best ball. So again, it is best ball. So obviously, the highest people on your bench get slotted into positions and get counted for points for the week. So you have Miker 5 trading with Trey B 23. So you got Godwin and Herbert on Miker's side, and in return, he sent away Daniel Jones, Kendre Miller, 402 this year, a 103. So that's pretty pivotal. 103 this year in 24, and a second round pick in 23, which is actually trades. So Trey gets his own second round pick back. So you got Godwin, Herbert. On the flip side of that, you got Daniel Jones, Miller, 402, 103, and a second in 25. Pat, what do you think? It's a lot going on this one.
Yeah. Man.
A lot of things to sift through. I don't know if there's a lot going on necessarily, but lots to sift through.
Man, I don't know, man. This is tough.
So you're down to
James,
James go first on this. I'm really looking into this.
So if we just want to break this down with some, just do some trade math on paper real quick, we got, I think we can cancel out Chris Godwin. We can say he equals a 2025 second, the 402, and Kendre Miller. We'll just say Chris Godwin.
That's a lot, but yeah, I wouldn't say that much, but yeah, okay.
Well, 402 is a throwaway, and Kendre Miller is like dust in the wind at this given moment as well.
Yeah, it's fair. Okay, fair.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair.
So that leaves Justin Herbert for the 103
Daniel Jones.
And Daniel Jones.
Yep.
Which I would lean the Herbert side of that. The 103 would be either Malik Neighbors or the QB2.
Well, a super flex, so it could be Malik Neighbors. It could be one of the quarterbacks. Like you could easily get a quarterback in that position as well.
It's going to be Malik Neighbors or the QB2.
Oh, sorry, this part. All right.
Yeah. And I'd rather have Justin Herbert than Malik Neighbors or the QB2. And Daniel Jones to me is, even though it's super flex, he's not long for this world.
That's what I was going to say. He might not be a starter next year. I mean, in 24 he might, but in 25 he may be on backup or not even anywhere. So who knows?
They don't want him, dude. Trust me. Being in this market, they're done with him, man. That's why they're bringing other quarterbacks in.
Yep. So what do you got, Pat? You had time to think about it?
I gotta be honest with you, dude. With Harbaugh out there, the throwing game is definitely going to drop.
He's also got no wide receivers. We talked about that earlier.
So I mean, like, that's why I'm like I'm like really weighing of what the current situation is. I hate Danny Dimes. I think he's trash. Like I said, Miller's not really anything amazing. Godwin's stock is you know what I mean?
There's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on here. It's kind of like what I was saying earlier. There's a lot to like sift through. There's just a lot of stuff.
Just to be me, I'll go with the picks. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it sucks because I do like Herbert, but I think with no wide receivers, the coaching change, there's a lot of revolving things happening here. I'll just go with the picks overall. You know, aging Godwin, Daniel Jones, maybe he gets like a shot of something somewhere else. You never know, dude. But I'll go with the picks just for the hell of it.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
Yeah, you actually kind of swayed me too. I gotta tell you, like the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, because you could get, you know, and I think it goes back. We've talked about this all the time. You know, it depends on what you're trying to do. Like, is Trey trying to rebuild? If he's trying to rebuild,
correct.
He's kicking to 25, which he's like, we just talked about with mine for the 26 first. He got to wait a year, but it's still a second round pick that could be a early second round pick, and it could be viable. So then he could get 2 starters, plus first starter was going to be the 103. Definitely be a starter, regardless if it's a wide receiver or a second quarterback, quarterback 2, whatever you want to call it. Godwin maybe retire in the next couple of years. Who knows what he's going to be? I think he's kind of wide receiver 3 ish, low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3, maybe at times.
He's definitely more of the 3 for sure.
3, yeah. Bro. But I mean, he's got spikes where he could be a 2 some days or some weeks.
Yep.
Then you've got Kendrick Miller, and it's like, who knows? You guys have both touched on this. Who knows what he's going to be? Yeah, I mean, I think it's Herbert side. If you were to say wins, like probably wins the Herbert side, right? I'd say he wins the trade, but I could easily say, looking back at it, like there's reason for Trey to do the trade and to get the picks and to see what he can do with those picks and at least take a gamble on Kendrick Miller. Maybe Kendrick Miller does become the starting running back in New Orleans, and then he trades him for a second round pick for next year. So, you know, could end up into something. The Daniel Jones, I'm not a fan. Never been a fan of Daniel Jones. I don't have him in. I think I had him in one league and I traded him like almost right away. So, and Herbert, it's really curious to see what's gonna happen with Herbert. With no wide receivers in that offense, it's gonna be really interesting.
And the coach, bro, that plays a huge deal.
That's what I'm saying.
Realize that's gonna be a whole nother. That regime change is big there. So also too, I mean, you know, Kamara is aging. You know what I mean? He's not going to be there forever. So you never know. Miller might have that upside sooner than later. So that's another reason why I took a second to really analyze this trade.
No, I like it. I think this is the next one. I lost my place. Yeah, sweet. So same league. We got 2022 Degenerate Dynasty League, 12-team PPR, Superflex, IDP, start 12, and it is best ball. So you've got this is our boy, man. This is Roger. So Pat, this is Roger. Obviously used to be on the pod with us. He's kind of doing his own thing, I guess. So wish him well. But Roger just traded Javonte Williams to Boss 2274. And in return, he's taking a gamble on getting Jerome Ford and a 2024 third round pick. I'll go with Pat first on this one because James took the last one first, man. So what do you think, dude? This is our boy Roger's trade. Yeah. So how do you think?
I like his trade, dude. I like Ford. I do take Ford in this pitch. I like, you know, the pick. It's whatever, but like I see the spike in Ford and what he could be. You know what I mean? Like I've seen what he has. I like it, dude. I really do. Javante's cool. I got no problem with it. I really don't like Denver in general and what they have. And then Javante's health, I'm going to question a little bit. You know what I mean?
That's the biggest mystery.
That's kind of why I'm like, I can see why he's getting rid of him for a little bit of a healthier, younger guy with Ford. So, yeah, my man knows what he's doing, Roger. Let's go.
All right, James, what do you got?
Okay. No, I don't disagree. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I leaned on the Javonte side just because kind of similar with the Swift trade before where I normally like leverage deals like this. I just see Javonte Williams in a tier above Jerome Ford. Last year was his first year after the ACL tear. And he's sneaky young. He's only going into his age 24 season. I know it feels like he's been around forever, but he still could have plenty of juice left. There's no guarantees that Jerome Ford is even the starter for the Browns next year.
Oh, no, of course. Yep.
But I think it's pretty clear Javonte Williams is going to be their guy. And I really do think he could still be a difference-making running back, like one of these backs who you want to have because they're putting up wins above replacement level fantasy points. So I lean Javonte, but that's just from a player perspective. If your process tells you to take Jerome Ford in the pick, I got nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna agree with Pat for I think the first time in all of these, and I'll tell you why. And yeah, Pat's like looking around like me, huh?
Me?
This guy. And the reason I say, and I was pulling it back up, is because it's best ball, and that's the reason why I think honestly that it makes huge sense what Roger did, and I think it's a great play. Javonte is injured, but you never know. He could have a fully healthy season, so you can't always rely on like injury prone and all that other stuff. But what he basically got was, especially in this draft class, in the third round of this draft class specifically, if it was 2025 or 2026, I wouldn't feel the same way about it. But considering that we know the talent that's coming out, we've heard kind of like the hype and everything, and we've seen how they've done at the combine. Nobody's really fallen off. They've actually gotten stronger. It's a third round pick. I'm not sure exactly where it falls, but he's basically taking 2 bites at the apple and having 2 potential players that can hit his lineup in a given week, and gave away 1 player to do that. So for that reason, because it is best ball, I'll go to Roger's side.
Matt, if I offered you right now, in a league, a 2024 third, for a 2025 third and a 2026 third, what would you say?
That's different. No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. I was just curious. I hear you always say you like the picks this year. I wondered if we had different philosophies, if we could leverage those things, but just it's all good.
No. Yeah, I'm good. So say it again. So you're saying 24 third this year for 25 and a 26 third.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you those for the third this year.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also missing the second part. What I'm saying, in best ball, you want to have as many bite of the apples as you can. So I'm giving you 2 picks for 1. So that's why I say no.
I forgot about the best ball aspect. Yep, that's
what's huge about this trade, is that it is best ball. I think if it was a start lineup, I think I would actually go. I don't know if Roger would have made this trade in a set your lineup. Like that's a question we'd have to ask him. But I would lean then towards the Devontae if it was a start. I actually set lineup besides the best ball. So that's the key difference, is they're getting multiple opportunities versus 1.
Valuable distinction.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, let's go into this one, man. This is going to be a big one. So this one just popped off today. So this is in Big Balls Rolling, man. It's a league that I started last year. Or no, this year. Was it last week? Last year. Sorry, my brain has just been like, with everything going on outside of fantasy football, there's a lot going on. So started last year. Big Balls Rolling, 12-team PPR Superflex. It is set your lineup, so it's not best ball. And it's start 11. So you've got, on one side, Truffle Butter is trading with Rum Boy. You've got Derek Carr, Kyren Williams, I'm just called him Kieran, and a 24 fourth. In return, he's sending away Amari Cooper and a 2024 first. And I'm going to have you guys start to talk about kind of analyze it, and then I'll pull up and look at where it is in the first. So I'll go, who's it, James go first this time? Yeah, James, you go first.
Cool. I definitely need to know what.
That's what I'm pulling up right now.
That first is, because that'll play a huge part in it. That could easily be probably is the most valuable asset in the trade. So I think fair to say, like, if I assume it's late, that's maybe equal to Kyren Williams. And then we're looking at Derek Carr for Amari Cooper.
106.
106. Okay. Give me a pick all day. That's a blue chip prospect. That's a very valuable piece. I want that. That's in the range.
Yeah.
That's in the tier.
Yeah. Amari in the first, bro. That's it. You don't even need to go any further.
Yep, yeah. Amari in the first. It is the 106. So that's easily a high-end wide receiver, if not a quarterback, if he drops to that spot. If this was tight end premium, it's not. But if it was, then you could also get Brock Bowers if you could so choose. But yeah, anything above a 107 is probably where I draw the line. 107, 108. We've talked about that before, I think, too, in the last podcast with you, actually, James. I believe we were talking about that, kind of like where the break-off point is. Yeah, I agree. Derek Carr is Derek Carr. Kyren Williams, I mean, Kyren Williams could be not really relevant next year. And then you get an elite, what's going to be an elite 106 pick, and Amari Cooper. So I'm totally down with that. So look at this. I think that was the first one that we've all agreed upon. Or am I wrong? Is that the first one?
Oh yeah, and like that too. So
yeah,
job,
it was
boys.
very quick. I'm going the wrong way. Hold on, bear with me. There, just looked at that one. All right, we've got a couple from Elite Fantasy Nation, so we're gonna go. This might not be in the order, so I do apologize if this is out of order. And Pat, you can kind of correct it if it is. But so we had this last time when James was on. There was 3 picks or 3 trades, I should say, that we did not get to. All 3 of them, well, we chose not to get to them. It's not like we ran out of time. All 3 of them were actually Pat's. We wanted to have him here, so he could talk through his theory, because I would think theory in Dynasty is very important. So I make sure Pat was here to kind of have a conversation on what he was thinking and why he wanted to make these trades and these moves, because there are a lot of moves and it was a lot in a very short time, like I think a day and a half or 2 days. So this is the first of the 3. So to kind of set up the league real quick, it's Elite Fantasy Nation podcast league. This is our league, and this is also James is in it as well. So it's a 12-team PPR super flex. I believe it's start 10. No, it's start 11. I don't think start 10 is correct. And best ball. So best ball is the key on this one. So why don't we go through the first couple of trade? We'll go through this first trade, and then Pat, when we let it get to you, you can kind of talk through your theory and like what you're trying to achieve overall. So you've got Pat trading with James, Jiggity Gemez, and you've got I didn't realize that this is actually the first one that we're starting with. So you've got Bateman, who we'll talk about in a minute, just actually got a little bit of a boost. So you got Bateman 26 second, 25 fourth, and you traded away Brian Robinson, running back for the Washington Redskins, to James. So since James is the recipient, I'll throw it to you first, James. Talk us through kind of what you were thinking on your end. You obviously gave away a wide receiver, a second and 26, and a fourth and 25. So take it away.
Yeah, so this was we were going back and forth on this, and this was.
Yeah, I remember on one of the podcasts you guys were talking about it during the like at the end of the podcast, and I finally was like, "We're done," because it was like 10 minutes off air, 20 minutes actually. It was like almost like 15 minutes off air of you guys negotiating a trade, and I was like, "I'm out of this. I don't want to hear this shit anymore. I'm done." So sorry, I had to interject there.
It just took Pat sending offers to me all day for us to finally land on one, and honestly, I like both sides of this trade. This was purely a portfolio bet on Brian Robinson for me. If I'm right about who I think Rashad Bateman could be, then I've lost this trade. But I have 15 shares of Rashad Bateman. That's 63% of my portfolio. And so, yeah, I'm looking for opportunities to diversify. And Brian Robinson is a player that I do like. This was made before the Eckler signing, by the way.
Yes, good. Yeah, that's good context. Thank you.
So I figured, I might as well get some odds on the other side of this in case Rashad Bateman does fizzle out, in which case I'll be very sad, but at least I'll have won this trade and lost in 14 other places.
Well, what are you going to do, man? Hey, you can't always win everything. That's the one thing you got to realize is fantasy football. So sometimes you're going to lose. But Pat, on your side.
Yeah, man, like this was an early morning this started. I remember this greatly. I was just going back and forth. And, like when I trade, I'm not here to, shaft anybody, dude. Like try to make it as fair for what you need and what I need. And we'll meet in the middle. And I'm, this year, I'm not going to be a winner by any means. I did a lot last year and I fell short, but it's cool. Like I said, it's my first time ever doing Dynasty and I learned. And now I'm just trying to rebuild slowly but surely, but still be competitive, if it makes sense. So I'm for the future. So that's kind of where it was. And then I like Bateman too, dude. I do like him. That was why I was telling James, I'm like, dude, I would definitely take Bateman. Like that was kind of what I wanted. Plus the picks, of course.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of pivotal for you. You and I were talking about this even, I think it was when the season ended, before you made all these trades and getting into the other ones, was you didn't really have a lot of draft capital was their biggest thing. Mm-hmm. And you were kind of stuck, at least in 24. You definitely were stuck, and you're like, I need to start to get a little bit more draft capital. So you were talking about like, how do I move pieces and what could I do? And I agree. Like, I'm not going to go into great detail. I think the two of you, having the two people who are actually in the trade talking about it and what they were thinking and their perspective means probably more than kind of like an outsider. I mean, I think either side could win or lose in this trade. It's like Pat got what he needed, James, you got what you wanted, but it also goes on to like, it's like one of those things where like sometimes a trade takes all day of going back and forth and being like, all right, let's have a conversation. Like, what are you willing to give up? What do you really want? And let's kind of like, instead of just shooting, like I've got in one of my leagues, this guy just keeps shooting me trade offers after offer without no context. He just keeps shooting it to me without even like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and it's like sometimes that dialogue will help get a trade done. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like one thing that I want to highlight of this specifically was like it's easy to shoot off trades, but like with no context, a lot of times that just annoys people and they may not even respond. So this is the two of you guys working together and getting something done. One of two, I should say, because this next one was another big one. Look at this. This is a good one too, where it was like, again, kind of same context. So same league, Elite Fantasy Nation Podcast League, 12-team PPR Superflex, Best Ball Start 11. Same two players, man. So you got Pat, whose City Stars 1023, traded with Degenerates, James, obviously, and he received, I should say, the 25 third from James and the 24 301, which is actually Rogers of this year. And in turn, James got Cooper Kupp. So from an outsider standpoint, I think this is James, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, probably going for kind of more of a win now with trying to get Cooper Kupp and trying to see what he could do with him. So before I go to James, though, we'll start with Pat, man. Why don't you take us through your side?
Well, mind you, I really don't have any draft capital this year, so I need at least something. I know have to have like little skin in the game, so I have something. So I got the first, the first of the third, which is cool, and then like I said, I have a lot of draft capital building for 25 in the future. You know what I mean? So he's going for the kill shot more or less now. He's going to build strong, and I'm like, it's cool. Like I say, I'll stay relevant and slowly build back up. That's it. Is really how I've been thinking.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. Just a contending move, and not even a heavy-handed one either. If Cooper Kupp dies this year, then I gave up 2/3, and I'm not going to miss them too much. So I'll take the shot that if Cooper Kupp's a top 24 receiver this year, I'll be happy with this trade. And if he's a top 12, I'll be ecstatic. If he gets injured, whatever. I didn't give up too much. So I'm fine.
And it goes back to best ball. So all you need him to do is pop off a couple of weeks and hit your lineup, and he could win you a couple of weeks here and there between now and the end of the season. So, and that could cause you to get into the playoffs, whether or not he's hurt or not. So, yeah, I think it's good for both sides. Like, I think it's, you give up 2/3, which the 301 is a high third in this draft. And we just talked about like how I think it's actually a pretty decent draft class. So 301, I think you could find somebody out of that. It is best ball. So you could find somebody, and hopefully that guy makes their lineup as like a RB wide receiver 3, whatever. And then he's got draft capital for next year. So I think it's a smart play on both sides, man. Team managers trying to make the kill shot, as Pat alluded to. The other one saying, all right, I know where I'm at, and I'm realistic with where I sit with my team, and I need to get more assets for future. So this one I've been waiting for, man. This is the crux of them all. This is a big boy. Big boy move.
This kid's a good dude, man. I like this guy, bro. I don't even know him, but I know he's a West Coast cat. I chatted with him for a long time. This is my first trade of the year. This is the one.
This is one that kicked it off.
Started. Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, talking to him back and forth, and super cool, mad responsive, respectful. Like, he's a regular guy, bro. I fucking like him. He should come on here too one day, man. He's knowledgeable too. So
yeah, man.
Go ahead, man. You talk. I'll explain, but you set the stage, bro.
Yeah, I'll set the stage. I'll lay out all the silverware, put all the tools on the table, and I'll let you guys kind of go at it. I don't know if there's really any going at it, but so same league, Elite Fantasy Nation Podcast, Best Ball, Superflex, 12-team PPR, Start 11. So you got Pat, City Stars 10-36, or sorry, 10-23. Trading with A-Kid 17, and A-Kid doesn't know his shit too, by the way, man, because him and I think we might have traded once, but like we've gone back and forth a couple times and just talked about like ball, and he knows quite a bit of stuff. So you've got Pat receiving Schultz, David Montgomery, Devontae Smith, and a 25 first of A-Kids, and A-Kid in return gets Devontae Adams, CMC, the 2022 210, the 412, and the 409 of this year. So James, I'll throw it to you. Man, you got no skin in this game, but just want to kind of get your perspective. You know where Pat's coming from, because you've obviously traded with him on a couple of these. So thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in this league too, so I have pretty decent perspective. So looking at this, doing the trade math real quick, There's a couple of fourths on the Devontae Adams side. I'm going to add those fourths to Devontae Adams and say that equals Devonta Smith.
Yep.
And then
Could go there.
Dalton Schultz, I'm going to say, is equal to the 210.
It's a little bit higher than I'd give him, but okay.
You think?
And he just got paid too. Remember that, dude. He just got signed, man. Remember that. This is pre before that too, by the way.
This is tight end premium. Schultz just got a deal. He's on a good offense. I would give the 210 for Schultz if I was
okay.
Yeah. So that leaves Montgomery and a 2025 first for CMC. So math wise, I actually think that the CMC side has more value. And potentially Pat could have gotten more for this package. However, the trade totally still works in my mind because Pat trading away CMC as a rebuilder is looking to move off of those older assets by de-risking himself from them, those volatile assets. So selling at a slight discount is something I'm fine with, and the value here is close enough. I'm completely okay with it. I think it's a good move for Pat because no one's going to be buying Devontae Adams and Christian McCaffrey for a king's ransom anymore. So I think he did a good job.
So you think it was a little bit, and not try to throw salt out there, but you're saying you feel like you could have got a little more value. So what else did you think?
So what I think
a third could have been thrown on there, a second could have been thrown on there.
I think that he either trades Devontae Adams and CMC for this type of price right now, or he takes a gamble and he waits until the season.
Yeah, that's fair.
And waits for them to start putting up numbers and then flips them at that point. But that's much riskier because they can get hurt, or a number of things could happen between now and then. So I think he did a good job. I think this trade works out pretty well for both people. And A-Kid is obviously pushing himself in to try to win,
100%.
which is
100%. That was main topic. He was like, I want now. That's why he's like, I'll take it. I'm like, all right, well, let's work on something, you know?
Yeah. Do you want to, Pat? Why don't you kind of talk through it, man? I mean, you kind of talked a little bit at the beginning, but
no, I want yours. I want you.
Mine. No, I mean, you and I were talking about you selling CMC before this trade even kind of kicked off. So I knew you were kind of talking like this is to kind of give context behind the curtain, I guess you could say. So Pat and I had a conversation right after the season. He tried to make this season a push, didn't end up happening. So he had traded draft capital. He realized he was like, hey, I'm kind of stuck. Like, what am I going to do? And, and I'm like, oh, you're going to have to start trading players, like figure out what assets. And like the most valuable ones, I think we even talked on the phone, was CMC popped up right away. It was like he obviously has a lot of value still, just came off in a phenomenal year, and you just don't know in the next year or two what he's going to have. And if you're planning a longer year build out, he's not going to be beneficial to you anyway. So get the points off. It's best ball again. Get the points off, as James alluded to earlier. Get the points off your fucking squad. So move that piece immediately. Devontae's older as well. So we talked, I forgot if we even necessarily talked about Devontae, but yeah, I mean, I look at it as like pretty fair. Like we've talked about this before, the 2-4s, especially the 4-12, that's like the last pick in the rookie draft. That's going to be Mr. Irrelevant. Good luck if that even pans out or how it pans out. 409 is not that much farther up. So basically for the 210, McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, you got Schultz, David Montgomery, Devontae Smith, and a 25 first. I mean, the only thing that I'd say is I think you did good. I don't disagree with James. I think you could have got a little bit more. And if you would have got here's what would have made it better, I think, in my mind, is if you had a guarantee that the 25 first was like top 7 in the rookie pick. But if he's pushing for it, that's A-Kid's 25 first. If he wins the championship, that now becomes a 112. So you're kind of betting, you're betting against yourself because you're giving him the assets to win, but then you're taking his first round pick. So if he wins, it actually hurts your side of it. You know what I mean? So that'd be the only thing that I'd
how it pans out. Yeah.
Right. That'd be the only thing that I'd say in a case like that. And just for everybody to kind of, the way that I think at least, is that in this case, if let's say A-Kid had somebody else's random 25 first, I would have said, I want that piece instead of your 25 first, knowing that like he's going all in to win. He may not win. He may fall short. So you just never know. But that would be my perspective. Go ahead.
So Matt, I have a philosophical question for you then.
For sure.
Let's say A-Kid didn't have anyone else's firsts but his own.
Yeah.
Would you rather his 2025 first or his 2026 first?
I would say 25, just because, like, I mean, 26, these two players are probably off his team. Devontae Adams and McCaffrey probably won't be on his team anymore. So he'll probably either have to, because he's obviously trading a lot of assets to get him. So, I mean, you probably would have a better gamble at 26 from a philosophical standpoint of him maybe winning the championship in 24. Maybe 25 he starts to rebuild because he realizes that, like, he needs to get rid of CMC or whatever the case may be, and, like, 25 is a bad year, so by 26 it's a decent pick in the first round. At least he'd have a better opportunity then. That's kind of how I'd look at it, but it's just longer you're waiting. You know, it's like, how long do you want to wait for a rebuild? I mean, I know people that have been doing Dynasty and they're I'm trying to think of the word. They're continually rebuilding. They're like just perpetuating a rebuild at all times.
Yeah,
so
no, I'm
they're
not
continuing,
doing that.
and I'm not saying you are, but I know that.
Yeah,
like,
no, but
even some analysts that I listen to, they're like, oh, always go for the pick, and it's just like, if you're always going for the pick, you're never going to win. Like, there's no opportunity to, like, actually cash any of that in. So at some point, you need to be relevant again, because these are all paid leagues, right? So
and Matt and I've talked about that. Like, you know, you can't be in every league rebuilding, or you can't be every year looking for the rebuild. So what are you, just donating your money? Like, there's no fun in just rebuilding all the time. Right. Yeah, if you have to restructure, you do it. All teams. Who the hell wants to be a loser all the time? Then you just want to donate your money. But yeah, listen, just call your team the losers, and then fucking just give it all away and donate your money. So go for it.
Pat's got a lot of thought theory on this. Like, I'm not as extreme, but I will say that, like, waiting 20 to the 26, until cashing in, like, it'd probably be the smarter thing to do, because the chance of him having a higher, meaning not being a 112, 111 in that draft class, is probably more likely. So 26 probably gives you more of that probability of that, right? But it just depends on if you want to wait that long and how long your rebuild realistically looks. If it looks like it's going to take you 2 years to rebuild, then hell, I'll take the 26 first. I rambled a lot on that. I don't know if that's kind of gives you.
It's just 1 year. It's just 1 year difference. And I know with this trade that this manager is trying to win this year. I know that he's going to try to win.
That's what I just said that. Yeah,
25 first as late as possible, like you said. But if I take his 26th first, there's a possibility he does the exact same thing that Pat did, try to win, come up short, and then be like, damn, I need to rebuild. That's what Pat did. And guess who has his first?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
It's true. I give you that. I mean, mind you, I just want you to know I don't have a 25 first, so this is my 25 first.
Oh, that's your 25 first. Okay.
So just like, there's other context no one's gonna know, but like, I'm building, so there's certain things I traded. I don't think
he had a lot of picks that he traded. He had
because like I was fucking, you know, Swift, this, that. I was like, I was wheeling, dealing whatever I could at the end of the year last year. I'm like, yo, I'll take it. Boom, here. I'm like, yo, you want my fucking son? Take him. I'm like, at this point in time, I'll just let it all run. You know, I'm like, go for it. You know, I was like, dude, I'm aggressive. I'm gonna go for it. But guess what? It happens. You know, some people say, you know, there's one thing about me, bro. I'm never gonna like shoot a team down for what they do, or, you know, this guy's team's horrible, like other people have done in leagues that I know. But I'm just saying, like, everyone has a theory and everyone has their way. It may work, it may not, but you gotta try it, and you never know how it's gonna pan out, dude. I'm just saying, injuries happen. And all it takes is one. You're like, holy shit, look at that. Now you're going to look back and be like, wow, well worth it. Or I get shot in the foot. You know, what am I going to do? It's fantasy. It's a gamble.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a gamble. And it's about the direction you're going in. And you've picked a direction and you're doing the right moves to go towards that goal. So I think it's great, man.
Yeah, and last on that note, too, once you pick a direction, don't deviate. Don't, like, go halfway in and then turn around and you're pulling stuff back out and you're trying to get, you know, players for this year. Like, you go all in, or you either – you're tanking and rebuilding, or you're not. Like, you always have to have a direction. That's a great point from James. But all right, let's keep this going, man. We're at like 55 minutes, so we got four more trades to get through. So we've got 2 more leagues. So this is Shit Auction 6, which is actually so this is the South Harmon boys. So this is Mike, Pat. This is Mike from Elite Fantasy Nation. So Mike and Adam do this league. So it's Shit Auction 6. So you've got, hold on, let me see. So it is, where is it? 12 team PPR, tight end premium, which doesn't really matter in this sense, but Superflex, start 12, best ball. So you've got Alex FS trading with Shane Joe. And Alex basically is tearing down from the 103 in this year's draft and getting the 105 and the 204. So, Pat, you go first, man. Thoughts on this?
So
he's going down 2 spots and then picking up a second-round pick.
Second round? Sure, I'm cool with that. I'm all right with that. He has his madness to his method, and, I don't know his team. I don't know what he's got on it. I don't know any of this. He tiered down for a reason, grabbed an extra second, and then in this draft, why not, man? There's a lot of – dude, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of wide receivers. There's going to be a lot of surprises. So, I'm with Alex, bro.
All right. James, what do you got?
Yeah, with the best ball component, I really do like the tear down. I was really ready to argue against whatever.
I know. I knew. I saw your expression. I knew you were trying to get your ammo together, and then you're like, "Oh wait, best ball."
I felt like I could play devil's advocate for either side here, but no, I do think that the 204, yeah, in a best ball league, that could be someone who could be a difference maker. So,
could hit your lineup easily. Yep. I agree with the tear down. It's good. Tiered out, and it's only 2 spots. It'd be different if it was like the 103 to like the 107 or 108. I mean, at 105, you could still get a quarterback and elite wide receiver. So you may not get, I don't think it's that much of a tear down, to be honest with you. With those 2 spots in this particular draft and who the top 5 projected players are that to go in a rookie draft. And in
at
turn,
the 105, at the 105, you're picking between Odunze or the QB3. It's going to be one of those 2 things.
Yep. Or you could have Malik. Some people are talking about Dunze might go ahead of Malik Neighbors, so you could have Malik potentially. But regardless, I mean, you're going to have a very high valuable wide receiver and a quarterback 3 in this draft class, which is very valuable. And in turn, you basically get a high-end second-round draft pick. So totally agree. So another unanimous agreement there. Wow. So talking about Mike. So here's Mike McNutted, dude. Like I said, this is his league.
Who said we were talking about Mike, bro? I mean, I didn't hear his name.
I told you, talking about Mike. I said Mike's a minute ago. And then you've got, same league. So this is the auction 6 league. So 12-team PPR, tight end premium, Superflex, start 12, and best ball. So talk about a tier down or tier up. Mike did not have, if I remember this correctly, this is actually my 108 pick, if you see my name's underneath there. Dynasty MD 6129. So Mike McNutted receives the 108 and in turn gave up 2024 202, 203, and a 25 third to get the 108. James, thoughts?
I know it's best ball, but I still want the 108 side all day.
I agree.
The 108's in that range of players that I really want. It's still going to be, I'm looking at that. It could be Brock Bowers or JJ McCarthy. I think, and it's tight end premium. Like, Caleb, Marv, Neighbors, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Roma Dunze, JJ McCarthy, Brock Bowers. Those are the top 8. And I want all those guys real bad. So, giving up the 202, 203 and a future third, I think it's worth it to get the 108. But best ball, if you're confident in your player evaluation, I understand why Alex did what he did.
Pat.
Yeah, I'm with him. There's no arguing. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
So you're agreeing with McNutted. You take McNutted's side.
I do in this one, yeah, because you're gonna get a solid pick right out the rip for sure.
No, I agree. I'm trying to throw a little shade your way with the whole McNutted.
Yeah, but I'll give it to you when I need to, but not right now.
All right. Cool. I agree.
I took a jab secretly already tonight. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. So last league, we've got Wake Up Best Ball Volume 2. This is Jiggity Gemez's league. So it is a 12-team PPR tight end premium Superflex start 11 best ball. Ooh. So did I leave out anything, James, about the league as of accurate, right?
I think you got it all. Yep.
All right. So you got Scott Free FC trading with T. Sanford 08. So Scott gets DK Metcalf and in return gives up a 25 first. And then in 2024, he gives a second and a 4th round pick in 2024. So Pat, what side are you on?
The picks. That's
the picks. Okay. So you're going for the 24 second, 4th, and the 25 first over DK.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, yeah, for sure. Because the second, and then the first for building wise. I mean, DK's cool, it's good, but he's got his age. He's going there too, little by little, man. Still a freak though. Still going to get his points, so it's great. But I want the picks.
James, you agree? There's going to be dissent in here. Are we going to have a little bit of?
I mean, I like both sides. I really do. DK could give you wide receiver 1 production for multiple years. But if he doesn't do it this year, it really won't be much longer that you'll have the opportunity to get out for a first. So I'm all for doing it right now. So yeah, I like both sides, but I'll agree with Pat.
Yeah. So again,
I'm
unanimous.
on fire right now, bro. Wow.
You are actually. You're making sense for once, Pat. Damn.
Listen. There's a method to my madness, bro. It doesn't have to always make sense to you, but if I see it clearly and it works, that's all that matters, bro.
Man, I love it. I agree. Like I don't like if you're rebuilding the picks for sure, no, 100%. Plus, it's the best ball. You get 3 opportunities at a bite at the apple. Even the 4th might hit occasionally, but that first could be mega. So, and it was T. Sanford's first for and then you've got the flip side. You got DK. If Sanford's trying to make a push and doesn't really have any viable starters and wants to make sure that he's got somebody that's legitimately going to be hitting his lineup on a regular basis, is getting DK, who is a stud at, and probably have at least one more good year, maybe 2. You never know. So I agree. It kind of just depends on what position you're going for from a team management standpoint. Oops. Last one, and this is another doozy. So same league, and this involves our boy, James. So we're going to have him talk last. So it's Wake Up Best Ball version 2, volume 2, whatever the hell it's called, 12-team PPR, tight end premium, Superflex, start 11, and it is best ball. Jiggity Gemez. James receives Trevor Lawrence, a 25 second and a 25 third, and in turn gives up Deshaun Watson. I almost said that really weird. Some weird slang.
He's trying to get it. Okay. Oh,
Deshaun.
Hey.
I don't know where the hell that came from. 2024 first, 2024 fourth. Both are T. Sanfords. And then obviously T. Sanford gets Trevor or Deshaun. So question on that, Pat, what are you liking? So you got T-Law, second and a third and 25.
When we talked about it, I co-signed for Mr. Jimenez in this.
Okay.
Jiggity. But you still had to give up a first. What was your first in this? What is it?
That's what I was going to ask you, actually.
That's the important part. It's the 108.
So it's the 108 and the 408 then, right? Because they're both yours.
108 and the 403.
Oh, 403. Okay.
Yeah.
Not like the 4th makes that much of a difference. Just want to see if it was the same. So, Pat, finish your thought.
I do like it. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has got a lot of revolving pieces too down there, man. That I like him better, obviously. I mean, for quarterback, Deshaun, then yeah. I mean, that's why Deshaun went with the first. I get it. You know what I mean? I had to be there. And then you got some future picks.
I misspoke. It was the 408. It was the 408 because they're both my picks. Yeah, it's the 108 and the 408.
Yep.
Man, I don't know. It's tough because now there's a lot of things have changed. I still take Trevor Lawrence. I still like yours better. But that first is going to be. But that first is going to. I think your first now. That first right there is going to be something nice though. It should have some solid play out of it.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, I like James' side, man. The same thing. I like the T-Law. I know you're waiting till next year, but you got a second and a third. You basically, you took, if you look at it, you basically have Trevor Lawrence traded for Deshaun Watson in a first, and then you basically for 4th, you got a second and third for next year. So it's like you kind of got kickback. So I mean, I like it, man. I think you got extra pieces that you might not have needed, to be honest with you, to make that trade go through. But I think you did a smooth job, however you negotiated it, to get a second and a third from next year just to get Trevor. I know Deshaun had a decent year last year. He started really slow, but actually, if you pull up the score box, or the box score box, he actually scored quite a bit and did really well throughout the end of the season, towards the back end of the season, before he got hurt.
But you still did it, man. You're good, James. Man.
Yeah, no, I like it.
You're fine.
I like it. Plus, you're a big T-Law believer, so, and you've talked about that last podcast. You really do believe in him, so. Why don't you kind of take us through your thought and how long it took to maybe put this together? Because it is a bigger trade.
Yeah, well, first, shout out Sanford. He's a sharp dude. Originally, the trade involved the 109. I had the 108 and the 109. Okay. And he made the point that he wanted it to be the 108 because I think he sees the same tier break that we see.
100%. Yep.
So that was astute on his end. This plays into...
And let's pause on that. I mean, I think just to take another second to say like, hey, I mean, the positions of picks does matter, and just like a little bump, and Sanford, like you said, the 109, he could lose out on all the top tier guys in this draft class. The 108, he is guaranteed at least one of them, right? So it may differ which one he gets, but at least he's got the opportunity to get one of them. So I agree. That's something definitely to call out.
Yeah, so that was a good move of his. I mean, from my end, like you said, like I've mentioned before, I still totally believe in the talent of Trevor Lawrence, and he has enough job security that it's only a matter of time that the production will follow. I also have way too much Deshaun Watson. His price has been so depressed that I ended up getting a bunch of shares, and the price just only gets lower and lower. I have 10 shares of him at 42% of my portfolio, so I'm totally fine moving off of some, making bets against him. Where this trade could really break right for Sanford would be if like a year from now goes by and Watson and T-Law, their value ends up landing in the same,
Yep.
and then he basically just got that 108 as profit. But obviously I like my side, otherwise I wouldn't have made the trade. But I think it depends on where the chips land. It could totally work out for both of us, but we just don't know yet. That story has yet to be told.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, to kind of wrap it up too. Like, I agree. This is definitely something that both of you could theoretically win the trade at the end of the day and kind of walk away and be like, all right, I still feel good about it. So yeah, overall, it's pretty fair. It's like it gets split either way. And Deshaun did have a somewhat decent year before he got injured, so they could be in the same tier. So to your point, 100%, I agree. And you need nice, intelligent, and kind of intellectual and people who know what the hell they're doing in leagues is amazing. I love that. So props to you, Sanford. Good job, man.
So question for you. So could we, like, to the listeners and to us, I want another league started because I want more, because I'm only in one Dynasty league. So I've been asking, which please collectively.
Oh yeah, hit the like and subscribe button too while you're down there, and comment,
subscribe, comment, and then say I want in it, and then we'll make another fucking league and let's have some fun. And then you can be on here and talk just as much as us, and then we can talk about your trades, and I'll agree with you, and then James will disagree with you. So that's just how it goes, and it'll be great. I promise you.
Fair enough. All right, man. What do you got, James? Before we sign off, man, we're about an hour. We're a little bit over an hour, so. You got anything to add before we log it off, man?
Just a message of appreciation to everyone listening and my good friends Matt and Pat for having me on. And you guys are great, and I appreciate y'all to the moon and back, for real.
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck
welcome,
yeah.
Dude.
We're just three normal guys who love fantasy, love talking ball, and love, kind of this the game that we play with fantasy and theory and conceptually, like how we can do trades and stuff like that. So we're gonna have you on.
If you want to do another trade, I'll do another one. We can talk about it next time.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, start wheeling, dealing, dude. Start getting that shit going. And as Pat said, like and subscribe. Please comment below, man. It means a lot. The algorithms helps. We need as much of the likes and kind of subscriptions as we can get. Pass along to your friends. If you like them or don't like them, who cares? Just pass it along. And then if you do want to join the league, just chat in the comments and say, hey, I'm up for the league. Here's my sleeper handle. Let me know. We'll start one, probably as it gets closer to camp and everything after the rookie draft, NFL rookie draft, I should say. And then we'll see how many people we got and get a league going. Maybe two if we got enough. So with that being said, man, fuck it all. Enjoy. Oh, it's Friday too. Friday before the weekend of St. Patty's Day. So do you guys have, before we leave, are you guys partying? I know Pat, there's tequila that's going to be drank at some point. He's hungry, so he's going to eat before he drinks. But there's definitely going to be tequila. Yes?
Yeah.
Is there green tequila? That's the question.
I could make it green.
Okay. Any fun plans? What are we doing here? Who's getting shit-faced?
I'm mellow this weekend. Easy weekend, but I'll have a couple drinks to just chill.
All right.
Yeah, man, I'm going to the parade. I like parades because you can speed them up just by walking in the opposite direction, and then if you'd like to pause it, then you can just walk with them. So it's like really convenient entertainment.
I love it.
Fun about walking VHS tape recording, moving back and forth, and I like it.
Yeah.
Walking VHS.
All right, man. Well, everybody be safe. Enjoy St. Patty's Day. Have some drinks. Be safe, and until next time, we're out. Peace.
can't wait to see what my face looks like.